Okay, we're back. Passives. We did the present passives using Uris Tour, Mur Mini Inter. Those are our endings. I don't have a fancy song for that, sorry. And now we're going to do the perfect passives. Now there's a little change here. Remember with perfect active we use the third principal part. That's the perfect active stem, amawa. But it's the perfect active stem. It's not the perfect passive stem. For perfect passive stem, you finally use this last principal part. You say, when are we going to use this thing? I'm really getting bummed out here. We haven't used this thing yet. Well, now we're going to use it. This is the perfect passive principal part. Perfect active, perfect passive. For present, you use it for active and passive, for all of these. For the perfect system, you use this for active, this for passive. Okay, so whereas these are all the actives here, using that third principal part, now we're going to be using the fourth principal part to form the passive. So for the perfect, let's start with that one. I'm going to zoom in here a bit. Easy on the eyes, okay? And you're going to go to your perfect passive, amatus. Now, real quick, this is an adjective sort of a form. So, you know, hopefully you recognize us is usually a masculine. So really, this is just the masculine form here. It could be amatus, amata, or amatum if it's neuter. Okay, so masculine, feminine, and neuter. This is like an adjective here. And amatus means having been loved, or loved. Okay, vir qui amatus est. He is the man, qui, who amatus est, was loved. Okay. And so what we do is, if it's just amatus by itself, it's just kind of like it's an adjective. But you get put a verb with it, and then it makes it the perfect passive form in the verb. So you say, if you want to say, I was loved. Okay, here you got amawi, I loved. But if you want to say, I was loved, as in I received the action, I was loved, you'd say, ego amatus sum. Okay, and that's if you are a guy, a dude. Okay, if you're a girl, you'd say amata sum. Amata sum. Okay, I was loved. Notice this is just the form of the verb to be, sum, in the present tense. But when it's perfect, when you use it with a perfect passive participle with this form, then this sum gets pulled into the past. And so this whole thing is a unit. This is in the past, perfect. It's amatus sum. I was loved. Not I am loved, but I was loved. If you want to say I am loved, you have to say amor, present. This is I was loved. If you want to say you were loved, you say amatus es. If it's a guy, if it was a girl, you'd say amata. If you want to say he was loved, it's amatus est. If it was a girl, it'd be amata. I'm not writing it all because it takes a long time. If it's we are loved, it'd be ama. Now this key here, these are singular forms. Amati. Okay? Like servus is one, servi is plural. Amati sumus. We were loved. If it was a group of girls talking, they'd have to say amatai. Okay, like puella, puellai, amatai sumus. Okay, so that's the little key here. These are like adjectives, and they have to change number. If you say you all were loved, amati estis, that's all the forms of sum, and they were loved, amati sunt. Okay, and this is if it's guys or guys and girls together. If it's girls, you're going to use amatai, girls only, amatai for all of these. That would be I was loved, or I have been loved. Okay, so use that fourth principal part, you add the present tense of sum, and boom, you got a verb. It's a two-word verb. Most times Latin verbs are one word, but this one's a two-word. Okay, and it works for the whole perfect system. It's going to work the same way. If you want to go more in the past, use the same forms for the pluperfect. If you want to say I had been loved, I had been loved. Doesn't that sound sad? Okay, I had been loved, you'd say amatus eram. Okay, notice now instead of using the present of sum, I'm using the imperfect of sum, and that puts it back farther in the past. Amatus eram. Remember, for my pluperfect, amaveram. Notice I still use the eram, so you're still using this era for pluperfect. It's really kind of nice and neat. It's easy to remember. Amatus eram, if you want to say, and that's if it's a guy, right? Girl would be amata eram. I'm a guy, so that's why I'm saying that. You had been loved, amatus eras. He, amatus erat. We, amati, if it's guys and girls, eramus. You all, amati eratis. And they, amati erant. And that's how it works. And again, if it was all girls, you'd say amatai for plural and amata for singular. Future perfect, it's going to form the same way. See how we did it here with arrow, using what's the future of sum? Well, we're going to do that over here too. Future perfect, it's going to say amatus. Notice I'm always using the fourth principal part here. Always using that fourth principal part for all of these, okay? Amatus, now I just use the future of sum. Ero, which means I will be. I will have been loved, okay? I will have, doesn't that sound ridiculous? I will have been loved. In other words, I will be loved and it will be completed in the future. Okay, that's all it means. Amatus ero. You're not going to see this form all that often. Don't worry. Amatus eris, you will be loved. You will have been loved. Amatus erit. Amati erimus. Amati eritis. And lastly, amati erunt. Notice in the passive it's erunt, in the active it's erint. Okay, if it was erunt here, it would look just like that one, so that's why it's not like that. And that's how you would do the future perfect. Not going to see this form all that much. Basically just means you will receive an action and it will be completed in the future. Usually, remember I said future perfects are used in those situations like, if you do something, this will happen. If you complete something in the future, something else will happen in the future. If you build it, he will come. And in English, we don't say, if you will have built it. We just use a present tense to say that. If you build it. But it's like a future, you know. But in Latin, you use this future perfect tense to do things like that. And that is now the present system passive up here in the indicative. Okay, all these. Zoom out a little bit there, and this is going to be the perfect system. Passive for the indicative. All of these. Remember, indicative is the mood of reality. In the next videos, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the other moods, the imperative and the subjunctive. Voilete.